Welcome to my attempt at solving the array queue practice quiz. So let me restart my timer so I get my 15 minutes. Here's my text editor. So I need to implement the offer method, which adds E or inserts E to the queue. And so for a queue, we insert at the rear and we remove or pull from the front. So let's get going. So this is my array queue and array implementation of the queue interface. Oops. Author Kim Warner. Public class array queue. E implements queue to 11, and we have our private E array of E's. That is our data, so that's where we store all the items in the queue. Private int front, which will points to the first item in the queue. Private int rear points to the next open space. Rear minus 1 is last item in the queue. This is the way I just like to do it. You don't have to do it this way. Int size, number of items in the queue. So size is always going to be less than data.length, or we need to resize it. So public adds the item E to the end of the queue at param E. Oh, excuse me, it's item. Item to the item to add at return true if item is added. Public boolean offer E item. So what do we need to do? First thing we need to say, if size is equal to data.length, right? Our array is full. We need to call the reallocate method, which will increase the size of the array by 2 generally, and then copy the items from the data array into the new data array, and then assign that new array to data. So now, and it will update front and rear correctly. So now that we know we're in the right place, we need to stick this at the end. So we want to say data sub rear, which is the next open spot, equals item. And now we want to increment rear. So rear equals rear plus 1, but since it's a circular array, we need to mod that by data.length. So if we're near the end of the array, but we've removed some stuff, the data will actually be near the end of the array, And so if we increment rear, it may go to, we want to get to 0. So if rear was rear minus 1, the last item in the array, we increment it by 1, so it's data.length, so now mod it by data, that makes it 0. So rear is now pointing at the next open spot, which would be the beginning of the array. And we gotta remember to increment our size, because we just added an item. And then we want to return true. And so, again, the big O, big O is 1, since we only reallocate every n times. The reallocate method is big O of n, but since we do it every n times, it's actually a big O of 1 operation on average. So that is my offer method. If I were doing the add method, I would, if we had a fixed size, then that's when I'd throw my exception. If this had a fixed size, I would, instead of reallocating, I would return false, because I can't add anything to the array or the queue if the size is, if the data array is full. Thank you very much for your attention.